is chiropractic safe? We're going to make it safe, right? So we don't come into the office every day to deliver poor adjustments where they hurt people, and that's why we have processes. So you can't eliminate all the risk, right? There's a risk with anything, but here we're going to do the proper guidelines and the proper measurements to move forward to make sure that we are practicing as safe as possible, and we are putting the patient in the best situation possible to yield results. Yeah. And so, yeah, chiropractic is safe. We see, I think it was probably 6 months ago, the news, hammering chiropractic. Mm-hmm. And that's when the questions come up and people start getting really nervous. But to kind of go back to our practice members is we get to re-explain to them is, Ms. Jones, this is why you're on a plan, is so we can make it safe, make sure you're getting results. And this is why you went through a protocol when you got in here. Is we're trying to rule those things out. We document, we take notes. If we're not getting results, we refer out, which that's where the risks come in, right? If you're doing the same thing with no results, you're increasing your risk. Right. And so by having a process is going to eliminate as much risk as possible and yield on the side of safety.
Yeah, 100%. And to point with that, there's a reason why we go through as much schooling and education that we do, right? We don't just, someone asked me when I first told them when I was going to chiropractic school 8 years ago, like, oh, well, how many weekends is that course to become a chiropractor? Yeah. And I don't, mock or demean them, but, it was, you're going to go to 4 years of weekend school plus Monday through Friday in between, right? So there's a reason why there's all this education. We get the same exact medical training outside of pharmacology that medical students do, MDs do. So, and there's a reason why we get this question a lot. Were you nervous the first time you ever had to adjust somebody? And my answer was no. We do so many setups and we learn so much about what it is that we're doing. Like you said, we have processes here. It's day to day, it's focused, but at the end of the day, it's like you could adjust me in your sleep. I wholeheartedly believe that, right? So, nobody would really question like the side effect of a drug that they get put on, where it's like, oh, what's the risk of taking this drug? Well, I don't care about that. Let me just take it and feel better. With the adjustment, the risk is so low with the reward being so high, and that it's kind of interesting how people look at that dichotomy a little bit differently. Taking a pill with all those lists of side effects versus getting an adjustment where the risk of potentially something very dangerous happening is very low, right? And that's why we do all the precautions that we do. But the most common thing that I think I've experienced or I've seen from getting an adjustment would be soreness. Would be soreness, right? And that's fairly common and that's normal.
Or no change.
Or no change, right? And that's where we have plans in place where it's like, hey, if nothing is changing, that's insanity to keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Yeah. So it is very safe. We do a lot of the things in the office here to reduce or minimize the risk. Right, and I know that's what we learned in school, and I know that a lot of other chiropractors practice like the same way.
Yeah, being thorough, and then making sure that you're listening and making sure you're aware of what's happening is gonna minimize the risk.
Yeah.